Alright guys, so side note before I start this top 10 best and worst end of the year. This is my first time ever doing stuff like this, so bear with me. For the overall best movies of 2022, that's coming tomorrow, but it's the best movies. And then I have to kind of figure out, like, make a list of the worst. So the worst video will come, or maybe, no, I'll do a best and worst, but there's not going to be that many on that list, but it's going to be a combined video. So best and worst movies of 2022 comes tomorrow. But there's going to be more good ones than bad ones, because I can't really think of a lot of bad movies that I saw that I didn't enjoy, but we'll figure out. As of for today, the first video in, I'd say 3 or 4 of these videos I'm going to try to get out to you guys, and is going to be my if you're wondering why I'm looking on a sheet, I have a good memory, but when it comes to, like, remembering stuff like this, it's kind of hard for me. So I'm just going to use my sheet I wrote down here, and we're going to go from there. Alright, so top 10 best and worst horror films of this year. You guys know me, I'm a big horror buff. Always have been, you know? So we're going to start with that today. I thought it was fitting we start with that today. It's going to be a longer video. I'm going to give you it, and I'm going to explain a few reasons why. Okay, so we're going to start in a particular order here, probably from 10 to 1. Because I'd rather do, you know, number 10 through number 1, you know what I mean? Alright, so number 10, starting off, now this might be a little biased. I don't know how you guys felt about this movie, but it was just a bad experience. Number 10 is an A24 film, and it really shocked me, because I tend to like those, like X, I was a big fan of. Pearl was okay, but, number 10 is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. The main reason is, I couldn't invest myself in the characters at all, okay? Look, you had some A-list actors in there, but, I just could not get invested in any of those characters. Pete Davidson was in it, but, so it's basically kind of like your murder mystery, and like, all these friends get together, and it's kind of like a murder mystery type of thing. You got to find out who did it, whatever. But the characters were so mind-numbingly boring and idiotic. They have to be some of the worst characters I've seen in a horror film in a while. And the plot is just basic. Not a lot of substance there for me to keep interested, and it's just laughably bad. I know some people enjoyed it, but for me, that is the worst film for this year. So we're gonna do the worst first, and then go to the best. So that's 10, okay? So number 9 is Firestarter. Listen, I'm a big Stephen King fan, okay? I am, but I don't know what went wrong with this film. You know, you had the basic premise. It's supposed to be a remake of the original, and the original was really good. I felt like he nailed. It's about this girl who has these powers, like fire powers. Like she I don't know. She can control stuff and use fire in certain ways. And I mean, you even had Zac Efron in this, which, you know, he's pretty good. I thought you would have carried it, but it just did not feel like a good Stephen King movie to me. And there's a lot of good Stephen King adaptations out there, and unfortunately, this is just not one of them. I just could not get interested in this. I was just bored the whole time. That's what it really came down to. So that is number 9. Number 8, this one is not even a question. Jeepers Creepers Reborn, okay? So this franchise has been through a lot of shit with the director, okay? And when I saw they were trying to bring it back, I'm like, okay, let's give it a chance, right? Because I like the original few, you know, back then. They're good movies. But, this movie is not a Jeepers Creepers film. This is something entirely different that they tried to market as Jeepers Creepers. It's about these influencers or whatever going to this carnival or haunted house or whatever, and they encounter the creeper, but it's not even about the creeper. It's about them being at a haunted house, which, if you're going to make a Jeepers Creepers film, Jeepers Creepers, the creeper's got to be a part of that movie. You can't make one without him. So, Jeepers Creepers is going to be number 8. Number 7 is one you guys might not have checked out this year. Goodnight Mommy. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Generic, low-budget horror film just not good. Just not good. Number 6 is another one. Choose or Die. It's kind of like, you know that film Countdown that came out a few years ago? That's kind of like a low-budget horror film that they try to market as like some new generation type of thing, like Truth or Dare and Countdown. It's one of these. I've never really been invested in those type of movies. It's not a lot there for me. So that's number 6 for you guys. Number 5 is Old People. Listen, I was so confused this whole movie, so I'm not going to spend any time on it. Just no. Just no. Number 4 is Uma, which, listen, that's another one where I just checked it out to see what it was like and just severely disappointed on it, so don't check that out. Number 3, I'm not spending a lot of time on the worst because I want to get to the best and explain reasons why there. Number 3 is another one that might be a little biased because I know some people enjoyed it. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, when I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was making a reboot, I was really excited because I do enjoy. I did enjoy the older films, and you know, Leatherface is an iconic character, but it's about these influencers going to like Texas or something and trying to like remake the town, make it popular, new generation, make it like for the new generation. It was just and the kills aren't even that great. It's just they dumped it on Netflix and knew it wasn't gonna be good. So that's number 3. Number 2 is Decomas. I'm not gonna spend time on that. And number 1 is a band. It's not good. All right, so that's out of the way now. We're gonna do the 10 best for you guys. Okay. So the 10 best horror films of this year. We'll just start off with number 10. It's Pearl. Now, like I said, I'm a big fan of X. I saw they were making a prequel to that to explain the character of Pearl, or I forgot her name. It's been so long since I've seen the film, but yeah, I was very excited to check this out. I'm not like a huge fan of like prequel stories usually about characters, like how their backstory and stuff, but I believe this one did a lot of good things to tie into the other A24 films like X, and you know, they kind of mix well together and they explain it really well, and the kills are brutal. There's one kill with like an alligator or something that is completely brutal. So overall, really good tie into X and a really good prequel story. So that's number 10. Number 9, this one, there's a story why this is number 9, but number 9 is Pray for the Devil. This one I know a lot of people hated, and they're not big into like those type of movies, but I've always kind of enjoyed them for, you know, what they are, you know, substance and stuff like that. Pray for the Devil, I went into it thinking it was going to be completely garbage. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, it's on my list, but it's not near the top of the list. So it's not like it's the best film out there, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, you know. And it came out right around Halloween, and I felt like that was a good move. Um, so number 9 is Pray for the Devil. Now this is where we get interesting. Number 8 is a movie called The Invitation. I know it just came out on Netflix. It's kind of like your basic vampire story, essentially. There's this lead character finds out she has extended family, and it takes place in England or London or somewhere, and she goes there, she visits the extended family, and they're glad to have her, but things aren't what they seem, and it kind of unravels like a vampire cult story. The lead actor, he I don't know. The performance he gave was really good, but I just could not. His face, the way he looked, I don't know. It was a good movie, but it's not at the top of the list. Number 7 is the newest Scream. Now, I wanted to put this higher, but there were other films that kind of beat it out this year for me. But I've always enjoyed Scream, all the Scream movies, except for maybe some of the, ones after, like, 1 and 2, and maybe potentially 3. But I always thought they were good films, Ghostface, iconic, those films, iconic for their characters and the story and everything like that. So Scream, when they were making a new Scream, I was instantly hooked. I was ready for it. I was excited. I felt like the message in this could be a reason why people might not like it, but I understood it. It's basically about how toxic horror fan bases can get, or fan bases in general can get towards movies. So it has a deeper understanding behind it, and if you don't get it, I understand if you don't get it, you might not like it as much, but I was able to get the message. I like the characters. I like their development in the film. I thought one character in particular pretty much stole the whole movie, and that is Jenna Ortega's character. I think she did a really good job. Everyone else did a good job too. Twist, like always in Scream movies, which I did not see coming. I kind of felt it, but when it hit, I kind of got taken back because I did not see it coming at all. But so Scream is number 7. Number 6, oh god, I don't even know if I want to say this. Halloween Ends is number 6. It's funny to me because when Halloween 2018 came out, I watched it, and I thought it was a really good way to bring Michael Myers back and that story back, and kind of open a new chapter, but at the same time pay tribute to the older films. So I thought it was a good film. Then you get to Halloween Kills, and I was severely disappointed with it. It didn't feel like a Halloween movie to me. It just felt like, like Carnage Candy movies, where it's just kill after kill after kill, and there's not really any story development for the next film. I felt that if they just made Halloween 2018, you could have just ended it right there and have the final battle between Laurie and Michael in that film. You get to Halloween Ends, okay? And it was the final movie, so I was a little excited to see it, see how it all played out, who died, whatever. This movie is not a Halloween movie. That is what I'll say right now. It is not a Halloween movie. I don't even think they tried to make it a Halloween movie. This movie is about a completely different plot point, a completely different character arc, story development. Michael's not even in it for half the film, which completely was mind-boggling to me. The Corey character, the more and more I think about it, I appreciate that they tried taking a risk, but I just don't think it paid off in the end. And then, having Michael not be in the movie for half the film, it's kind of like, I felt like they came to the table with 2 different scripts, and they just put them both in there. Instead of just focusing on a story about the final battle between Michael and Laurie, they throw Corey in there and his story development, and it kind of just mixes everything up and kind of throws the flow of everything off. So it's not at the bottom of my list, but it's not there at the top. So that's number 6. Number 5 is Nope. I have always been a big fan of Jordan Peele. He is a great director. You know, he's mainly a horror director, but everything else he does, I feel like he's really well. He has that kind of creative mind to where he knows how his stories wants to go, and he knows what kind of messages he wants to put in his stories. Um, Get Out, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, that was a perfect movie, because he was a horror movie, but he put a concept in there that, you know, most directors won't even touch because of how controversial it is, but I felt like he really nailed it well. And you get to Us. I'm in the opinion that Us was good, but I think he tried throwing too much in there, and some of the messages got kind of mixed up, and I don't think it's his best, obviously. So then you get to Nope. Right away, I was hooked on this. It's a movie about aliens and UFOs and all that type of stuff. So it's like a sci-fi. It's like a couple other genres mixed in. There's a bunch of callbacks, Easter eggs, which I thought was really cool. You got Daniel Kaluuya. You got Keke Palmer in here. So I thought, if you asked me to rank them, I would put, this is why Nope's at 5, because it was a good movie. I thought it was a good third movie for him to come out with, and he did everything for this film. Like, in the other films he didn't, but this film he had the full reins behind it. So I thought it was a good film, but it's not at the top of my list because there's other, you know, Get Out was his best film, and this beats Us, but it's not the best film of this year. I thought there were a few things in there that could have been done better, but overall I did really enjoy it. I did enjoy the cast of characters. I enjoyed the story. And Jordan Peele is one of my favorite directors. So that is number 5. Okay, now you get top 4. Top 4 might be, some of you might have differing opinions on this. Okay, so you get into number 4. I said at the beginning of the film, X. I completely love that film. The reason I love that film is because they took a horror film and they tried to do something completely different with it. They took a horror film and at the same time made it about the adult film kind of industry and like filming, you know, porn and stuff. And it, like, I like how they made it a horror film, but they also threw that in there, and it kind of just throws everyone's expectations off. Jenna Ortega is once again in this film, and she carries this film. She is a great addition to this film. Mia Goth, I think her name is, or something. She's in this as well. Great performance by all the people involved, and they do some really cool stuff with like the old lady. That's not like, you can't, like, it's not CGI, like, it doesn't look bad. It actually looks pretty scary. So good on them for like what they did there. But X is number 4 because there's 3 other films that beat it, but I'm a huge fan of X. That is probably my favorite A24 film. So that is number 4. Top 3 were hard for me. They were really hard because these 3 were the movies that stuck with me the most for good reasons, because they were really good films. All right. Number 3 is The Black Phone. So when I had first seen the trailer for this, I saw that Stephen King's son was directing it. It was based off a short story. When I first saw the trailer, I was intrigued, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go see it. What really made me want to go see it is Ethan Hawke's performance. Now, I know Ethan Hawke has done horror before, but his performance in this is probably the best horror performance I've seen him ever do. He is amazing in this film. So basically this film, the reason this film stuck with me is because it adapted from a short story. I don't think it took anything away from that short story. If anything, I think it made that short story like more impactful. There's got a good message behind it about family and relationships and families, and it's really scary. It's about this like serial killer called the Grabber, right? And he like kidnaps these kids and he locks them in a basement or whatever, and there's a black phone. And the kid in this film, I don't know what the actor's name is, but he did a really good job. anything they needed him to do, he nailed it. Really good performance by him. I liked it because it was horror. It was like a serial killer movie. It was supernatural elements in there, which kind of threw me off because I did not think that was going to be in there. But Black Phone is number 3 because of what directions they went with the characters, the story, the plot, and Ethan Hawke, who I now think needs to be in more horror films because he is good at being a horror villain. It is a really good film, and it stuck with me this year. Oh boy, okay, top 2. This could have gone either way because these two were the last 2 films I saw horror-wise. Number 2, and just for the sheer fact alone, I thought it was going to be campy. I thought it was going to be cringy. I thought it was going to be like Truth or Dare from a few years back. Number 2 is Smile. Man, where do I even start with this film? So, I went into this film, I saw the trailer for it, and much like many people, I thought, okay, this is going to be another one of those cringy, like not scary type of horror films like Truth or Dare was. And oh boy, was I wrong. Okay, so Parker Finn, I think who made it, he needs to make more horror films because this movie went in a completely different direction than I thought it would. You know, like, you could only do so much with a premise about a demon that, like, makes people smile or whatever. Like, you can only do so much with that before it becomes cringy or not scary, you know? Like, funny, laughable, you know? And he completely went in a completely different direction than I thought he would. It was scary. It was jump scare filled, but they were earned. They weren't like every 5 seconds and you saw it coming. When one happened, you got out the edge of your seat. Those were earned. It was scary. He earned every single scary moment in that film. And the actor is Susie Bacon. She needs to do more films like this. Kevin Bacon, I think it's Kevin Bacon's daughter, and she's really good in this film. The premise, like I said, I thought it was going to go one way, and at the end, he did some really cool things with like some monster effects, which I did not expect. So, you know, everything was earned in this film. It was scary. The jump scares were earned. The stuff he did at the end, I felt like really worked. And I hope that this somehow continues in whatever direction they want to take it. But yeah, that is number 2 because it just stuck with me because of, you know, like, just because this jump scares were earned and everything he did at the end. That's why it stuck with me, and I hope he gets to do more stuff like this because I really thoroughly enjoyed it. But there is one movie that beat it out, and I will. I'll say this: it came down on the wire between this movie and my number 2, and the reason is because they both stuck with me the most this year. And there's only one reason why this is number 1 and Smile's number 2. Okay. Number 1 is Barbarian. Here, I'm going to tell you why it's number 1. Okay? I saw the trailer for this. I saw it was about an Airbnb. I saw it was about these 2 strangers book an Airbnb in Detroit, and that's already scary as is, bro. Detroit, you book an Airbnb with a stranger, or you don't know it's already booked, and you have nowhere else to go because it's downtown Detroit, you know, and that's a shitty area. So I was, you know, I thought it was already scary. You know, I did not think, I'm gonna be honest, it looked like a horror film, but I did not think it was gonna be as demented and creepy and sickening as it was, okay? This film went in so many different directions that at the end of it, I had nothing to say. You think it's going to be a film about these 2 people in this Airbnb in downtown Detroit, when it completely flips that on its head and it goes in this direction, that direction, just so many different ways. Georgina Campbell, I need to see her in more stuff because I wasn't really familiar with her. I saw her in this. I want to see her in more movies. She's so good. Then you have Bill Skarsgård in this, and you know every time he's in a film now, you know he's up to something, you know, dirty, or you know he's up to something evil, because that's just what we know him by now, you know, based on all the Stephen King movies, you know, the It movies and stuff. So this movie, like I said, I was excited for it. I was going into it ready to watch it, but it completely blew me away. The plot is just goes in so many directions, and it's not to where it overlaps itself. It goes in these directions, and at the most tense moments, it cuts to a completely different plot point, which is brilliantly executed. It is amazing. So the main plot point is, like I said, about these two strangers in downtown Detroit who double book an Airbnb, and Georgina Campbell's character has nowhere else to go. She just decides to stay, and oh my god, there's a basement, and from there, you know, there's this monster, which that I don't know what they did, but that thing was creepy. I literally, it didn't look CGI, it didn't look weird, it looked really, really well done. And you also had Justin Long in here, and his character, his character was not a good character, not a good guy, don't get me wrong. But the humor he brought in this film, when there's not supposed to be humor in this, it works. It works at the right times. It is a very demented, creepy, sickening film. And that's why it stuck with me the most this year. So, yeah, that is my list for you guys. If you have any different films you think I should put on here, let me know in the comments, talk about it. But, like I said, though 1 and 2 came close, but it just came down to 1 went in so many different ways, and it blew me away more than the other did. Not to say the other one didn't blow me away either, but it just, when you have 2 good movies like that, it's hard, but it beat it out by like this much. I'm gonna be honest, I was going back and forth all day yesterday. But all in all, I think this year, more than any, was probably the best year for horror films. And I can't wait to see what next year brings, but I don't think anything's gonna top this year. Top to bottom, I think everything was strong. I don't think there was one film that was really, really bad. I think they were all in the stronger category of horror movies this year. And I'm very, very thrilled that studios are, you know, coming out with new ways to spice up horror films. And it's not getting boring or generic. It's getting better. It is really, they're taking it over the top. So, like I said, those are my best and worst horror films of the year. You guys have anything different you wanted me to add on there, let me know in the comments. Let me know your opinions in the comments, you know, your thoughts, you know. And like and subscribe, and keep it locked, because tomorrow is the big one. I got the best and worst of 2022. And then after that, I got the best and worst comic book films, which is going to be hard because there wasn't a lot this year, and there was more good than bad, but I'll try to do what I can with it. And then if you guys want me to make like a most surprising, most disappointing, I can do that too. But just let me know how you guys are feeling. But anyway, that's the first video. The next one will be out tomorrow, and then the day after that, and we'll kind of figure out if you guys want those other 2, we can do it. If not, then that's fine too. But all in all, like I said, pretty good year for horror films this year. I know you guys probably agree on that. So I will catch you in the next video.